Well, very good morning to everyone. So, we will start discussing about cost estimation of the project today. So, already we are done with testing. I mean, what the various activities that are involved in testing while developing the software. So today, in the fourth unit, I would like to discuss about the cost estimation, how to estimate the cost of the project, what are the challenges we generally face, and we have seven principles regarding the cost estimation. So we'll try to discuss about those principles under means how to estimate cost of the software. Now, the biggest challenge for the software engineers is to forecast that how much time it will take to develop the software and how much cost actually monetary cost actually that is involved in building up the software system. Or if suppose if it is already built-in software, already it is an existing software, then you should know how much time it will take to make specific changes. So all here while estimating the software, the cost of the software, all the developers need to participate in the cost estimation, though they may be managers or architects of large systems. Okay, so whether they are engineers responsible for designing and programming a single component, because here while estimating the cost you should know so what actually means what everyone requires, how much time they require, how much what type of resources they require, uh, mm, how many resources they are required. All this needs to take into consideration, because here the time is money, as we can say that the old have that time is a money. So for estimating the cost, there are two different aspects are there. The first is the elapsed time and the development effort. So if you talk about the development here, so you need to consider about the two things here. So the first is the elapsed time and the development effort. What is the elapsed time here? The difference in the time from start date to the end date of a task or a project. So what is the elapsed time? The difference between the starting date and ending date of the project or any task which you are going to take into consideration. The second is probably the development effort, or simply can call it as an effort, the development effort. The development effort in the sense how many persons per month or persons per days are required, means how much amount of labor is actually required to complete that specific task. So one thing is the time, the second thing is how much time it is required, how many what amount of labor is required, how many persons are required for how many months or days to complete a specific task. So when planning a project, your budget you budget a certain amount of effort for each task, means for completion of each task here you have the effort, means how many people are required, and you schedule the start and end times for the task. So if you schedule the task for 2 weeks of elapsed time but takes 6 persons per week of effort, that means that you need to ensure that an average of 3 people will be working on the task at a given point of time. Means here, see how the planning is done. So if you're scheduling a task for 2 weeks elapsed time, means the starting time and the ending time is takes 2 weeks, 14 days, and it takes 6 persons per week for that effort. Okay, that means you should, on average, 3 people will be working on that particular task and a given amount of time there. So the elapsed time of a project is very important, as you might have contractual obligations to delivery of the software by a certain day, or you might want to ensure that the product reaches to the market before the competition. Now, this is actually a very challenging thing here. So what type of challenge here? Because you might have a contract, as we discussed earlier in the classes, that you are going to sign a contract. The signing of the contract is you are going to build up the software for certain in a certain period of time for certain money. Okay, you are going to write a contract, means there will be a contract between your customer as well as you a developer here. Now if date is coming near, you need to deliver the software on that particular day. Or if suppose if it is generic software, you want to come into the market and you want to grab the market before your competitor enters into the market. So here that elapsed time is very important, but the actual cost of the project is primary function for the development effort. Means if suppose the elapsed time is also important, but to complete that, how much effort is required, is also very important. So I will just give you an example. I will just give you an example which I have practically observed in Kakinada a few days back. See, tomorrow I think some minister is going to come to Kakinada. Okay, some municipal minister is going to come to Kakinada. Means everywhere what they have done in a very short period of time, they have just involved as many people as they can for painting on the roads, for changing the entire scenario of all the roads, painting the dividers, painting the bridges, planting trees. Okay, all completing the pending works here. Means the effort here, the effort in the sense they are just involved the number of people for a certain days, and they are trying to complete that work day and night. So like that they are making some effort there. So the effort time, the development effort here. And also they have this elapsed time, so they are running behind that elapsed, because the elapsed time is by the end of today they need to complete everything, or by tomorrow they need to complete everything. So by that time they need to complete all these things here. So what you need to do here now, to convert the estimate of a development effort to an amount of money, you must multiply the weighted average cost. To convert the estimated development effort to an amount of money now, you need to multiply the weighted average cost. What is this weighted average cost? Also called as a burdened cost of an employing a software engineer for month. So for employing a software engineer for a month, that is actually called as a burdened cost or weighted average cost. See, generally you might have heard this term CTC, cost to company. So generally we ask, what is your CTC? What is the CTC? In the sense, the employer may answer that it is 5 lakhs per annum, or 6 lakhs per annum. Means the CTC for the employee means the burdened cost or the average weighted average cost for, of course, the CTC is different. Actually, it comes under the salary of an employer. But here, weighted average cost in the sense for just employing, for bringing an employee and paying him is not just enough. For him, you need to allocate an office, a desk, a computer, technical managerial support, everything needs to get. అంటే ఇక్కడ కేవలం శాలరీ ఒకటే కాదండి. అంటే వెయిటెడ్ యావరేజ్ కాస్ట్ లో మీకు ఏమొస్తుంది, శాలరీతో పాటు ఆ ఎంప్లాయీని కూర్చోడానికి మీరు ప్లేస్ ఇవ్వాలి, అలాగే ఒక డెస్క్ ఇవ్వాలి, ఫ్యాన్ ఉండాలి, ఏసీ ఉండాలి, కరెంట్ ఉండాలి, you need to give all the computer, everything. So all this comes under actually the weighted average cost per employee. So like that, how many employees will be there, how much time you need to involve them, all these are taken into consideration. So and after this, see here, this last term here which is shown here, the weighted average cost is often 2 to 3 times the average salary of an employee. So the weighted average cost of an employee is always 2 to 3 times the average salary of an employee there. Now, what are the principles of cost estimation? So cost estimation is notoriously difficult, because as I told you that it is for a larger project, it is very difficult to estimate the project, the cost, because the projects may be completed behind the schedule and over budget or not completed at all. Okay, means sometimes the projects will be completed behind the schedule. As per schedule, they may not complete, or if they complete also, they will complete with an over budget, means more than the budget which you have planned, and as well as they may not be completed at all. Okay, so there are several key principles that you can help you to make the better estimates. So this can be applied when you are estimating the time for your personal work or for an entire project. There means there are some certain principles out there which you need to apply for a better estimates here. What are those principles? Now let us discuss one by one. So first principle is the divide and conquer. You know that you have learned earlier that when you're developing a system, you're going to decompose the system into several subsystems. Again, a subsystem is decomposed into several other subsystems there. Likewise, while testing also, see here, you'll perform unit testing, means individually each part of the system, each component of the system is tested separately. Then what you are doing, you are just uh, you're just again integrating them, then you're testing. Likewise, you're not testing the system as a whole, because we discussed about the big bang testing. So under integration testing, we spoke about the big bang testing, where the entire system, all the components are combined and they are being tested once. So if some error arises, so where actually the error means, because of which part actually the error has arisen, we cannot underestimate, means we cannot identify. So the divide and conquer principle, which we applied earlier, also can be applied here while estimating the cost of the project. So while estimating the cost of the project, you just actually divide your entire system there. So what you do here is you decompose the system into several subsystems and divide subsystems into several subsystems. Then you make a series of detailed estimates of each individual activity. So what you do here, so after making dividing the systems into several subsystems, you make a detailed estimate of each individual activity, sum the results to arrive at a grand total estimate of your project. So after making a grand total, you may come to a conclusion that where actually means what is the estimate of the project here. And also here, although your detailed estimates may be inaccurate, your final estimate will be more accurate here. So your detailed estimates may not be accurate. So here, see, by just decomposing the system cannot bring an exact figure and an accurate figure there. It may be in an inaccurate, your detailed estimates individually may be inaccurate, but what happens here is your final estimate may be accurate. Why? Because of two reasons here. What are those two reasons? You will be more likely to account for all the subsystems and activities. So what you are doing, you are just accounting for all the subsystems, not just single subsystem. You are accounting for all the subsystems here. Okay. And secondly, if you underestimate the time for subsystems, for some subsystems or activities, they should be at least partly compensated for overestimates in other places. What does it mean? What does this sentence means here? What happens here is sometimes you may underestimate for one component, one subsystem, means the time required to complete that subsystem. You may underestimate, and sometimes some other parts you may overestimate. So like that overestimation and this underestimation, when you combine, so what they may happen here is they actually balance each other, and you may come to a more accurate figure here. Now this divide and conquer principle is not only a remedy here. So because you may miss some activities or systematically underestimate each activity, leading to a total estimate that is too low. Okay, sometimes what happens, you may underestimate each and every activity. Divide and conquer is not only the solution here. What does it mean here? It is one of the solution. It is one of the principle which you can apply. But by just applying divide and conquer, you cannot come to a conclusion here about the estimation of the project here. The other principles can also help in finalizing the estimation of the project. So what is the second principle says here? The second principle says here, include all activities when making estimates. So include all the activities under while making an estimate there. So if you do not appreciate the amount of effort required for certain activities or omit them entirely, then your estimate of total effort will be too low. That means that here, if you omit, if you do not appreciate the amount of time, means if you miss out, if you don't consider them seriously, if you don't consider them seriously, some of the activities, or if you omit them entirely, then what happens here is the total estimate will become too low. So that's the reason why each and every activity, each and every task, each and everything, whatever you are doing, so you need to think over and you need to allocate the budget for that. For example, see here, you plan to do some event here. Okay, some you plan to do some technical event like Avishkar you are doing here. So when you are planning to do for Avishkar, what you need to do here is you need to consider each and everything, like buying a small pen and a paper. Also, you need to take into consideration. You need to everything, or means buying some small snacks or even a small eraser or a pen or a pencil. If you are buying, if it is required in your activity, you need to take into that consideration and you need to finalize the budget here. Why? Because if you just overlook them, if you don't consider them, what happens here is later on it will be very difficult for you to meet the means the wrong estimation may lead to a very difficult situation for us to overcome here. So therefore, the time required for all development activities must be taken into account, including prototyping. See here. So you need to consider into everything: prototyping, inspecting, testing, debugging, writing, user documentation and deployment. Everything you need to take into consideration while estimating the cost of the project. Next, the third principle is base your estimates on past experience combined with what you can observe of the current project. Base your estimates on past experience. Base your estimates on past experience or combined with what can observe of the current project. What does it mean here? So you can predict from past. You can predict from the past. What is the past experience? Like just now I said that if you talk about Avishkar, so if you're doing for the first time, then you don't have anything handy in your nothing in your hand. You can just imagine and you can go for. But now already it is once done. Now you can take into consideration all those things, what happened previously. So what type of things we bought, everything you can consider, and now you can estimate how much cost it is going to take. So likewise here also, if you predict, it means if you, the only way to predict the future is to reason by analogy with the past. So if you are developing a project that has many similarities with the past project, so if it is having similarities with your past project, then you can expect it to be similar amount of work. Means same type of work you are going to take into consideration, and you can plan accordingly. But in general, no two projects are same. Remember that no two projects are same. Why? Because they're entirely different. If some new project is there, entirely different. Now, for example here, now again, if I talk about the Avishkar here, so at that time, the price, the food cost, the paper cost, the pen cost, even whatever the material which is required may be different from what is the price list today. You cannot blindly take into consideration those prices, and you can come to the conclusion of the estimation of new project today. So what you can do here is you can just take into consideration your experience, and now you can apply it to the new thing here. So the more you follow principle one, divide the estimation task into fine-grained details estimate, the more likely you are able to find similarities with the aspects of the past projects. Means you need to take into consideration. You need to take into consideration all the you need to take into consideration the divide and conquer rule, estimate the task into fine grained details, and then you can apply, you are able to apply the similarities here. So there are two general strategies using the past experience. Okay, so two general strategies. The first strategy is to base your estimates purely on personal judgment of experts within your team. So whoever are the personal, you need to judge according to the experts, the personal judgments of experts in your team. So the people who have already worked on other projects, and they can extrapolate their experience there. They can share their experience there. Okay, to the current project. Okay, and then the second strategy is using algorithmic models to have developed the software industry as a whole by analyzing the wide range of projects there. The second thing here is, the strategy here is using an algorithmic models. We have some algorithmic models here, so which most of the software engineer industry is following as a whole by analyzing the wide range of social development of the projects there. So they take into account the various aspects of project size and complexity and provide formula to compute anticipated cost. Means they are taking into consideration the various aspects of what is the size of the project. Okay, so what is the size of the project, what is the complexity behind that, what are the formulas they are using, everything they are going to take into the consideration, and they can anticipate the cost of the project. So the algorithmic models allow you to systematically base your estimate of development effort on an estimate of some other factor that you can measure or that is easier to estimate. So these models allow you to systematically base your estimate of the development effort. Means how much effort is required, how many people are required for how many months. So these all you can estimate on some other factors that you can measure or that is easier to estimate. So generally this estimates based on the factors like the number of use cases we are having, the number of distinct requirements we have, how many requirements are there, the number of classes in a domain model, so how many classes you have in your domain model, so the number of widgets in your prototype user interface, means how many type of widgets you are going to include, and they estimate the number of lines of code, so how many lines of code you are going to write. So accordingly, basing upon the lines of code also, you are going to decide how many how much money, how much cost it is going to take. So which of the above factors you use as a base of your estimate depends upon how far you have progressed in the development needs. So you can take whether you are taking the number of use cases, whether you are going to the distinct requirements or prototypes or lines of code, that depends upon you. Okay, so that completely depends upon what type of things which you are going to take. So project managers often use the lines of code to give the intermediate estimate of your system size that people can easily understand. So sometimes you can take the lines of code. So how many lines of code you are going to write, the project managers are taking into consideration, and then they are going to estimate the size, the cost of the project. Okay. Now here, see here, there is a typical algorithmic model formula here, which is taken into consideration, that is E is equals to, the effort is equals to A plus B into n power C. A formula which is having E is equals to A plus B n power C. What is E? E is the effort estimate. N is the estimate or the measure being used as the basis for the estimate. Means what measure you are going to take. Means whether it is the number of use cases or the number of lines of code or the number of classes which you does have, and all those things. The ABC are obtained by an extensive analysis of past projects. The A, B, C are actually the things which you are going to get by extensively analyzing the past projects. So whatever the past projects are there, you are going to take them into consideration, and then you are going to decide those figures A, B, C there. Of course, what is A and B? We will be discussing in the next coming principles. Here, the C is particularly a component So if it is not equal to 1, it means that the effort increases non-linearly. If C is not equal to 1, the effort increases non-linearly. If it is less than 1, then there would be economics of scale as the project gets larger, which turns out not to be the case in the software. Okay, C is not less than 1, so it would be the economics of scale. As the project gets larger, which turns not to be the case of software. In real, always C is greater than 1. Always C will be greater than, which means that the effort grows increasingly rapidly relatively to the project size. Means the effort grows increasingly rapidly relative to the project size. So according to the size of the project, the C is going to increase rapidly. Okay, this is due to the increasingly large amount of coordination complexity involved. So generally, it comes to the COCOMO model. So COCOMO 2 model, the constructive cost model version 2. COCOMO means constructive cost model. Here, the 2 in the sense the version 2 here. So where shows the typically values of C parameter used by one of the best, which is going to take into consideration the value of C here. See here, we are seeing the thousands of lines of code, kilo lines of code which is showing. As the lines of code increases, according to the thousands of persons months, means person months. And so how many persons are required for how many months? The value of C, here it is shown that C is equals to somewhere it is 1.06, somewhere it is 1.16, and somewhere it is 1.26, of course. So the non-linearity in the estimation of it shows the non-linearity in cost estimation. Another algorithmic model which we does have is the function point analysis. The function point analysis, in this approach, several related approaches. Okay, you count the features of the requirements and use these to compute the estimate of the system size. Okay, you count the features of the requirements. So how many, what are the features of the requirements you have, and you need to compute the estimation, can estimate the size, system's size there. Okay, then you can apply the COCOMO to the size estimates there. The basic equation here is the function point analysis is S is equals to W1 plus F1, W2 plus F2, W2 plus F3, and so on, where Fi represents the count of features of the requirements, such as the number of inputs, means Fi, the F1, F2, F3, so on will tell you the number of requirements. Okay, like the number of inputs you require, number of tables in the database, number of use cases, etc. These counts are multiplied by the weight values calculated with the industry-wide experiment. So how much weight each of those requirement will take. The result is summed up to produce the size of the project there. Okay. Of course, we do not require to learn these things very detailed, but just you remember that what is the COCOMO model and what is the function point analysis model. It is enough. These are the two techniques which are actually used to the algorithmic techniques which are used to estimate the size of the project. Okay. Next, what is the fourth principle here? Be sure to account for the differences when extrapolating from the other projects. So when you are extrapolating from the other projects, so be sure to account for the differences. What type of differences generally we have? So when you are taking the other projects here, often many minute differences, the subtle differences between the projects there. You need to consider carefully the effect of differences when making the estimate of the new project there. So what type of differences generally we have come across when between the old project and the new project, the past project and the new project here. So what are those things here? The first thing here is different software developers. The first point under this. It means people differ dramatically in their skill and experience levels. A skilled programmer can be 10 times as productive as the less skilled programmer. Now here, as you gain experience, so if you have become a software engineer, you joined a company, as the time progresses, what happens here is you will become more experienced and more skilled. and you can do, means what here, you can actually perform a work of 10 people easily. Then in your projects only few people, with the few people, this can therefore significantly influence the accuracy of the estimate. So if there are such people are there who are more skilled and more experienced, then they influence the accuracy of the estimates. Next, what are the different development process and maturity levels we are going to use? Teams that have skilled management and mature development methodology that include such as the things as quality assurance, risk management, iterative development will be able to work more efficiently than the organizers that follow the ad hoc approach. Means if suppose if you are having a development process and mature levels, means you are having a very systematic approach here, and you are using a very mature development methodology, like for quality assurance also you are following some specific technique, for risk management and for iterative development. So then the cost estimation will be different, with with other organization just following a temporary approach, an ad hoc approach, that will be entirely different. And also the different types of customers and users here. So when you are having when you know your customer well, this is also very important. If you know your customer well, if you understand your customer well, then estimation will become more and more easy. Estimation will become more and will, because you have a rapport with your customers, and you will understand, you can easily judge what they are required, and according to the requirement you can assess the how much time it will take, how much effort it is required, what is the elapsed time. Easily you can uh, uh, identify, and you can estimate the size, the cost of the project. But at the same time, because of poor relationship with your customer, or otherwise having not a healthy relationship, or if you are not aware of all such things, so there will be the project will get delayed because of your poor decision making, or slow or poor decision making here. And also if suppose if the customer is a single person, then your development will be very fast. And if suppose your customer is not single, okay, not only does it take time to negotiate the decisions when the people are involved, but resulting compromises may be difficult to develop efficiently. Okay, may be difficult to develop efficiently. So not only does it makes time to negotiate decisions when the people are involved. Many people when they are involved, again the problem here is more and more people are involved, the decision making will become very tough, because all need to get into one word. I mean to say that all should agree to the decision, and all should compromise with the changes, and also it sometimes takes difficult here. And also different schedule demands. Now this is a very challenging task for an software developer. So different schedule demands, because ironically, if the project team is under intense pressure to deliver the software by a certain date, they may cut the corners and make mistakes that actually end up in delaying them. Means what happens here is, if suppose if you are developing the if your time to deliver the project is very less, okay, and you have an intense pressure on delivery of the project, then what happens here is you can make a mistakes here. And also sometimes a certain amount of deadline also, sometimes what happens here is actually it will actually have a positive effect also on your development. And another thing here, this particular paragraph also will actually again a challenging thing here. Because the effort required to be affected by the changes in the hardware, other software systems, or with which the system must interact and database. Means sometimes what happens here is the new technology comes into the market. Now you want to apply this new technology and develop. Means as I said, past experience. Of course, a project has been developed, but if suppose if it is in some other language, okay, or some other technology which you have used, some other hardware you have used, some other operating system, some other database you might have used. Okay, now a new technology you want to develop. Then when you in new technology, when you want to develop now, you need to have a person who is much confident with that new technology, or otherwise you should the company or the organization requires to train their developers, they train their employees to that new technology, and then they need to develop this product, they need to develop the software in that new technology. And again, it is a time consuming process. Okay, again it is a time consuming process. So that's why taking working on different technologies also working on, sorry, uh, working on different technology also will also have an effect on the estimation of the project. And also different technical complexity of the requirement. Some systems are intrinsically more complex than others, because the complexity of the project will maybe increase. So some project will be more complex than the previous ones, and because of their greater reliability and distributed, or for many other reasons, then also you need to the cost may differ. And also different domains also. When you're talking about different domains, a team embarking on a project in a domain in which it has not worked before will undoubtedly take time. Means if suppose it is a new domain, if it is a new domain. For example, if your company is working on banking domain, they have already developed a project under banking domain. Now a new project arrives that also under the banking domain. Then it is very easy, because already they have done under that banking domain. Then they have some idea about what happens in the bank bank, and they can easily develop it. But if suppose if it is something new thing here, for example, if you go for a transportation system or railways, now it is a new thing. Again, they need to understand the domain, what happens there, or and certainly they need to study for some time that domain, and because of that, again, it will affect on the cost estimation. The next is, excuse me, next is different levels of requirement stability. Some projects are easier to define in advance. Sometimes what happens here is some projects are very easier to define in advance, but some projects must be in exploratory fashion, since the requirements will not be clearly known until prototyping is complete. So some projects will be easily known in advance what is required. Sometimes after defining the prototype, then you will identify the new requirements. Then again, the effort will be substantially vary according to the new requirement, because if something new requirement comes, again the entire budget, the entire cost will actually affect. So some domains are more prone to changes in the requirements than others. So some projects will be there, they will be changing more often there. So this algorithmic cost estimation techniques explicitly take into account the factors, various factors such as above, and by multiplying their estimate by the small factor or increasing the value of the exponent here. So as we have seen there, E is equals to A plus B n power C. Just now we have seen the formula. Okay, basing upon the exponential values, and again taking into this consideration the A plus B values from these all things which we have discussed, then you will come into the consideration. So what is the effort which is taken? So if you talk about this COCOMO model, again, the basic value of exponent C is presented earlier is 1.01. We can add to this exponent amounts ranging from 0.00 to 0.05 depending upon the impact of the expect. Means if suppose if your value, initial value is 1.01, you can add some value in between 0.02 to 0.05. Means some value you can add it to here, so to increase the cost here. So next, the impact of expect is from the level of experience with this kind of project. Means what is the level of experience with uh, uh, this kind of project. In the sense, as we have just discussed here, the point, if it is a new domain, then it may be different. Then you should certainly increase the cost of C. Sorry, the value of C. Okay, then the amount of flexibility you have in development process, how much flexibility you have in development process, that also matters. And also the amount of risk management performed, how much amount of risk management you have performed, and the quality of the development team you have, and the process maturity of the organization. So how mature your organization here, what quality of development team you have, what kind of experience you have with its current project, how flexible it is. Depending upon all these things here, you need to increase the range of the C value, adding it from 0.00 to 0.05 value to 1.01. Also, the series of multiplicative factors that modify the value of B in the formula. The factors are divided into four. Means if you want to take into consideration the series of multiplicative factors of B in the formula, they can be divided into four categories. So personnel, product, project, and platform attributes. Means what type of platform attributes you have. Okay, so what are the personnel attributes you can take into consideration? The project and the product values also you can take into consideration. And initial values of byte of B might be 2.4 for small projects and 3.0 for medium size projects. Okay, next is principle 5. Anticipate the worst case and plan for the contingencies. So here, so you anticipate the worst case. So what happens if something went wrong? Entire thing will went wrong. So one way is to plan the contingencies, is to prioritizing all the use cases according to the benefit of the customer. Means what happens if something went wrong? You need to plan the worst case also, and then accordingly you need to take that into the consideration and estimate the cost of the project here. Okay, so for example, if you might have difficulty deciding on the requirement, there might be unexpected technical changes in the design process, and somebody might quit or not performing up to expectations. We sometimes see some employees may not be performing to their expectations, or sometimes the requirements changes. Sometimes there may be technical challenges in the design process. It may take time. So because of that, again, what happens here is the cost of the project, obviously it is going to increase. So one way to plan the contingencies is to prioritize all the use cases according to the benefit to the customer. So you prioritize all the use cases according to the means according to the benefit of the customer. And if a project progresses, you revise the cost estimate, shows that you will exceed your budget or deliver the software too late. Sometimes what happens, as the project progresses, the cost may be revised, or it may be delivered too late, or you can draw the lowest priority use cases and update the estimates accordingly. In such cases, you can, when you are prioritizing the use cases, what happens here is the lowest priority use cases can be dropped and you can deliver the project accordingly. So here, and another important thing to do is to build up the enough cushion into your cost estimate for typical delays. Means how the delays can be handled here. It is discussed. For every detailed estimate, make an optimistic, pessimistic, and likely estimate here. For every detail, you make an optimistic estimate, likely estimate, and pessimistic estimate. Your optimistic estimate suggests that the minimum time you reasonably think the activity might take. Means the optimistic estimate will tell you how much time, reasonably how much time it is going to take. You need to think about that. Then your likely estimate accounts for what you think that would typically the number of things going wrong. Means if something is going wrong, the number of things are going wrong, how much time it is going to take. So the first case, nothing is going wrong, so how much time it is going to take. The second case is the estimate accounts for what you think would be typically the number of things going wrong. How many things may be going wrong here? And your pessimistic estimate suggests that what you think that activity would consume if many difficulties were experienced. So how much time it is going to consume if many difficulties uh, uh, um, uh, were experienced. Then you add up the optimistic estimate, the likely estimate, and pessimistic estimate separately, arrive to a global estimates of best case, typical case, and worst case of the project. Coming to estimation of all the optimistic estimates, the likely estimates, and the pessimistic estimate. Okay, add them and you come to the best case. Means in best case, if nothing went wrong, how much time it is going to take? If some things may went wrong, how much time it is going to take? The typical case. And the worst case is the how much time if everything went wrong there. How much time it is going to take? Having these separate estimates ensure that you're not making the mistake of providing only the best case estimates. Your pessimistic estimates also help us to become conscious of all the things that would go wrong so that you can take active steps to avoid them. Means if you're taking the pessimistic estimate, means why you are thinking negative. You may be asking why you're, sir, what is the reason of thinking negatively here? So how you are telling that if something went wrong, what will happen? No, you need to take into this consideration. If something went wrong, how we need to manage them. So that also need to take into consideration so that to take an active steps when something went wrong like that. Okay. Next is combine the multiple independent estimates. Another thing here is combine multiple independent estimates. Independent estimates mean here in the sense here, what you do here is you take different approaches of estimating the project, and then you come into conclusion here. Means not just follow one model, you follow different model. As we had just discussed, you go for a COCOMO model or function point analysis model. Okay, to make two estimates here, not just a single estimate. You take two different estimates to calculate the size of the project, the cost, estimate the size, the cost of the project. Okay, or otherwise you go for a Delphi technique where several individuals initially make the estimates in private. Means every individual will make the estimation of the project separately. Then they share their estimates to discover the discrepancies. Each individual repeatedly adjusts his or her estimates until his consciousness is reached. Means what you will do here, different people will go in the different methods and they are going to estimate the size of cost of the project in the different ways. And then you're going to sit together, you are going to discover the discrepancies and then individually adjust his or estimates until the consciousness is reached. Okay, that is the sixth. And the last principle here is revise and refine estimates as the work progresses. As the work progresses, what you do here, you revise your estimates. When you set to solve the customer's problem, you'll have a very little idea what software is needed. So as the time goes by, the estimation will be changing because of several reasons, because you can add a new detail to the development, you can add a new requirement and you can add to it. Otherwise, the requirements may be changing. The already designed requirement may change. Okay, some features may be dropped, the other features may be added. Okay, and in order to meet the budget or deadline, some features may be dropped or sometimes it is added. And a risk management process uncovers the problem. Sometimes the risk management problems will uncover the problems here encountered. So basing upon that, you refine and revise the estimate to work progress here. So this cost estimation progress, therefore, is a continuous activity. Updated estimates should be reported regularly to the other members of the team, to the management, and to the customers. Okay. So classical budget means A classic project management failure is to keep reporting that the project is on time. See here, one error. You cannot say that it is on time and on budget, because you cannot deliver it in time. Sometimes, always you may become late. Okay, because of unplanned way. So plan in a correct way while estimating the project. So that is about project estimation. So next we need to discuss about building software engineering teams, which I would be discussing in the next class. So hopefully, I think for these 3 days, we are going to have, um, for 3 days, you are going to have the same process. If some, just wait.